Hello, everyone. This is the 12th of March. You are in the Gathering Convergence Room, home of the Heal the Earth Initiative and the Beacon Library. Today is Tuesday and Keeper of the Flying Beacon, and we have our two Indigenous elders with us today. Grandmother Gail Thomas is going to come on first. Come on, Gail. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Shonda. I'm always happy to be here and always happy to see everybody joining in community like this. And the tarot card that Shonda pulled today is the Mother. So I want to begin by sharing one of the songs that came to me from the dream world or in the dream world. And they come in the dream world in our ancestral woodland Seligi ways to help us all heal. So I'm going to ask Shonda if she would play that video from my YouTube channel, Singing Mist One, and then talk a little bit about what it says. Is it a good time to do that, Shonda, or I can talk first and then you can play it?
Actually, yeah, that's why I said, yeah, I had to go find it and pull it up. So we're getting there.
Okay.
We carry our mother's tears through the lives of so many fears, lifetimes and generational years. Dark clouds arise, then they clear. We carry our mother's tears, crystals in these mountains reach deep into those memories. Spring water flows like fountains with the blood of our ancestors. They were here in the wounding. Genocide on this land is there when we raise our hand. Shadows only hide so much. They lurk within our touch. We hide our scars for each new start that rips apart our heart. We try to find a way to be blind. We carry our mother's tears through the lives of so many fears, lifetimes and generational years. Dark clouds arise, then they clear. We carry our mother's tears, crystals in these mountains now reach throughout the world. Spring water flows like fountains with help of our ancestors. They were here before the wounding. We ask them for their help in our darkest night. We all can do the work of balance in the light. We can heal in our original ways of humanity's original days. We carry our mother's tears through the lives of so many fears, lifetimes and generational years. Dark clouds arise, then they clear. We carry our mother's tears.
Thank you so much, Shonda. That song seemed to fit where we are, and in our ancestral woodlands ways, we share from where we are. And we certainly stirred up some tears in our song class in this community yesterday. So I wanted to honor that tarot card of the mother and those tears from our song that we learned yesterday. And some people say that here on our sacred mountain, the oldest mountain on Turtle Island, we have the crystals in the form of the Earth Mother's tears. And our crystals are mined maybe 60, 70 miles north of here. And they go all over the world. They are the crystals that are in our gadgets that bring us together like this, and our tablets, our cell phones, our computers, because crystals hold memories. And it's just amazing to me that the oldest villages and the oldest mountain on Turtle Island give birth to the crystals that connect us in these ways that we're so grateful to be connected in, and allow us to build these communities with each other, and also to share these teachings that go back to the original instructions for this wave of humans, where we all share ancestors, and we can all reach back together to those ancestors and learn to listen for the voice of our ancestors as they bring back the original instructions, and help us step into those ways that are so needed by our sweet Mother Earth at this time. We really are looking at some hard choices as we step into the fifth world in our Seligi prophecy that says, in the first world, the stones were the first. They are the eldest ancestors, and they shared their teachings to bring the water in the second world. Together, the stones and the water brought the plants in the third world. And, that translates, the plants translates in our ways as those who help us. So then the stones, the water, and the plants all come together and brought the animals. And now the animals are teaching us in the fourth world to become our most human in the fifth world, which we're right on the verge of transitioning to. So we want to sit with that. So we want to sit with that deepening into the memories of the crystals and the stones as crystals, and the memories of our tears. Remember, our language is verb-based. So we look at actions. We look at those deepening feelings in our heart when we see things like the Oscars ceremony on this past Sunday, where the Native people brought the songs and dances onto the red carpet, and where we're actually being a little more understood and honored with Killers of the Flower Moon. And it is such a time that we can step into our ways and our memories of those ways, and we can learn and listen to our ancestors and ask them to bring back those original instructions so that we can actively choose the wisdom for these times, and we can return to as many of those original instructions as possible. And connecting with our ancestors is one of those original instructions. Connecting as kin all around, and connecting with the crystals shows up in so many ways. We talk about helping our ancestral patterns heal from the genocide that we experienced, and acknowledging those tears and asking those ancestors who've done their work. And the song says those are primarily the ancestors who were here before the wounding. So reaching way back, again, we all share common ancestry, and it's available to us if we learn to listen and to honor those patterns and those ways and become verb-based people who take action on these understandings. I'll give you an example. The allopathic medical system of psychiatry that accepted Carl Jung's teachings did that because he could present them as empirical science, meaning if you do the same thing, you get the same results. And those systems came from our medicine ways. It wasn't until the European man was able to travel to other continents and spend time with indigenous people who had medicine ways that they started to understand the differences, and that illness could begin in the spirit, and they could treat illness in the spirit before it deepened into the body, or they could treat both the spirit and the body in our medicine ways. And so that was the origin of the whole psychology system that we know of today. Initially, Jung had a dream of crystals. He was looking into the layers of underground water in the lower realms, and he saw skeletons and crystals floating by, and that led him to the actual active verb-based exploration of using the crystals, feeling the frequencies, doing the same thing, documenting the same results. And at first, it was the doctor named Mesmer who thought that it was all about the trance state, the way our medicine ways worked. And when you listen to my dance songs, you are dancing to a medicine journey drumming that helps us to connect head and heart and to entrain with each other. And that is the actual trance state, the letting go and the allowing the help from our ancestors and help from the crystals and all life around us as one, as we become one. And that's where we go in the third round of the sweat lodge ceremony. We go to a letting go so that our spirit helpers can come into our body and help us heal. We also have a salagi medicine practice where we use the selenite and the jet together to balance the light and the shadow darkness and break down the crystallized memories in our body that cause so much pain and illness. And if you remember the term mesmerized, I know that I often get the comments when people hear my songs, they'll say, "Oh, that was mesmerizing." And I'm reminded of how Mesmer brought our medicine ways to the Western world and psychology system. He used crystals and activities like similar to our dancing to try and put people in a trance state. And it was a big fad that spread all across Europe and actually created the word mesmerized. But that wasn't it. That wasn't really what was happening. Yeah, the teachings did come from the crystals, but that is not the way we use them. I'll give you an example of the way we use them. Again, teaching from where we are, we're in the new moon, and our tradition is in the going to water ceremony. During the 4 days of the new moon, we say in the new moon because we want to see it in the sky when we start to count to 4. And we go to a stream where we can face upstream into the east. And we take our crystals that we have a relationship with, that we have history with, and we have experience and have deepened into. And we sing 4 songs facing east. Generally, I'll sing a protection song, and then I'll honor the water, and either the heart song or the eagle song, or calling up the spirits, and sometimes the morning song. Whatever song comes to me, I'll sing, and then the gratitude song. And then in the summer when it's warm, I will immerse myself in the river 7 times. And this time of the year when it's a little chilly, I will scoop up 7 palmfuls of water, pour them on my head. I'll also put them on my dog's head. And then I look into that crystal that I have established a relationship with that sits here on my altar beside me. And if I see my image right side up, I'm good to go. I leave my herbs, my lobelia offering, my everlasting offering in the water. The offering is to the water. And I return. And if I see my image in that crystal as upside down, then that tells me that someone has cursed me. They've talked bad about me, or they've felt some strong feelings towards me, or any number of ways we can be cursed by others intentionally or not. And I go back to the water and I ask the water to wash that away, to take that from me. In the way of the alchemist, they called it solutio. And it was the second stage. First, we had to look into the darkness and be willing to bring what we found in the darkness up into the light, and then give it to the water to be washed away in the solutio stage. And then we came, through our dreams or our work or our medicine ways, we came into the calcinatio stage where we took things to a much deeper understanding. And we moved through the lessons, through the experience. And sometimes these experiences are really associated with our suffering, but they are for a reason. They happen when we are not on our path, when we are not doing what we came here to do, and recognizing our unique gifts that we bring to the world at this time because they're needed. And we need to get back on that path. And in order to do that, we need to let go of a lot of the darkness that has become shadow and has become behaviors that we may not be aware of, or we may not have clear choice in, that we really want to see and bring up into the light, and ask the crystals to help us release them from our lives and give them to the water to move along. But it's not like this letting go of what no longer serves me, because, are we really being served in the hierarchy? Or are we doing our work and learning and working with what we have repressed into the darkness, maybe from a wounding? In the developmental stages, I find so many woundings that we have to go work through in order to get into our present developmental stage. Generally, when I'll first start working with someone in the dream work, they'll go back to their 3-year-old stage, or some people even need to go back to the pre-verbal stage. These can be ancestral wounds that they came in with, or they can be wounds that they experienced before they were able to speak and ask for what they needed. And the method that's used in the Jungian depth psychology and medicine ways is the dance. This is why we dance. It's so important to dance, because this can heal the pre-verbal wounds that we carry from ancestors, or that we experienced in our mother's womb, or in our stage of life before we had our voice. And then we get, to the developmental stage of the terrible 2s and 3s. The terrible 2s are, the answer to everything is no. I run across people occasionally that I call Mr. No, because no matter what you ask them, the answer is no. And the same with the 2-year-old. And then, in the dream work, that can come up and be healed, and then the move to the 3-year-old stage, which is the temper tantrums and the anger issues that take away clear choices. And so we work with them in the dreams and bringing them up into the light. And if we're lucky, we use the selenite and jet combination of crystals to break those memories down in our body, because they can become extreme illness in our body. This is the blockage. This is the same thing Asian acupuncture does. Breaks down the calcium deposits, the crystallizations in the body. It's much easier to let the crystals do it than to do the work with the mind, which actually can re-traumatize and deepen these wounds into the body, instead of allowing our elder ancestors, the stones, to break down what they find in our bodies and help us clear through the dream world, our connection to the soul, and bring us through these developmental stages, no matter how old we are or what developmental stage we are chronologically moving in. We still have to go back and clear the wounds of the early developmental stages. And I'll see people move from their 3-year-old temper tantrums to their 10, 11-year-old I'm not you with their parents, where the ego starts to separate and develop on its own. And then they become their peers. So it's I'm not you to the parents. And I know those of you who are parents have really had some experiences of this. It's very challenging for the parents at times when they don't know the developmental stages and what's happening with the child, and they misinterpret it as being personal or rejection, or hurts their feelings. So we have to move through those stages, and then we have to go to the teenage years, where we start to step into our power. This is our body coming into our life in a big way. And it's the power of make 'em look, the power of sexual energy and hormonal control over our choices again. Takes away our choices. If we're aware of these developmental stages and we move with them and we work with what they're developing, then they're in sync with the physical development of our brain. Our brain doesn't stop developing until we're around 26, 27 years old. And we think we're so much better than the animals because of these words we use and all these things we objectify and use in our lives. Those bear cubs, they're gonna be on their own in 2 or 3 years. They're going out into the world ready to have their own families and find their own way when we're going into our temper tantrums as 3-year-olds. So think about that when we feel that superiority and that hierarchy that we see in the collective all around us, And so we have to move through those power stages of adolescence, 12, 13, 14, all the way up to 20s, because that's a big one. That's really hard, especially in this dominance culture, very power-oriented dominance culture that we are in, and we really need to change, and the crystals can help us change that. In our 20s, we're supposed to know who we are and what our gifts are that we came here with. And in my ancestral family community of 12 families, that's the thing we did best. We spotted each other's gifts. When I was a child, I walked around with a medicine bowl, and I was always filling it with plants and stones. And if my mother took me somewhere and she didn't take my bowl, I'd just go in the kitchen wherever I was and get a bowl. And then I would go back out to nature, and I would do what I did naturally, the gifts that I came in with, gather the plants and the stones in my little medicine bowl. And that was spotted by the women who came into our traditional talking circle ways. This was something they could not outlaw or take away from my family when we were supposed to be assimilating. We gathered on our 50-acre farm every weekend as family, and the women went into talking circles, and they recognized the children's gifts and encouraged them. The men protected the women so that they could talk and share and be in these traditional ways. And then the women would take what they learned to the men, and the men would take it out into the world. They would support the children in the gifts that they saw, and they would do what men do. They would be helpful and protective. So there were parts of our ways that they couldn't outlaw, and they couldn't assimilate with force upon us. And we had crystal mines. We had mines on that 50-acre farm. The colonizers took our clay and they took our feldspar and they shipped it to the Wedgwood pottery plants in Europe and made the best pottery, some of the best pottery in the world with our resources, and continue to do that. But they left us, interestingly enough, because they didn't understand our medicine ways. They took the feldspar, which grows also with the labradorite and the moonstone. And we are the people of the moon. So fortunately, our moonstone and our labradorite were protected. And labradorite is a protective stone. And the moonstone is one of these healing crystals that we sing, that came up in the song, and that we use to heal the earth now. And we actually use to speak to each other and to gather this in this way so that we can come together in healing the earth, and we can work with each other, and the indigenous people can bring back those original instructions, and we can come together as one people now and share our ways and help people return to the original instructions of this wave of humans, so this wave of humans can continue and help to heal the damage that's been done by these genocide, colonizer dominance cultures that we've had forced upon us for hundreds of years now. this is the hope that I hold out, that we can work with the crystals, these that we work with in our everyday life, and those all around us. I just recently fortified my medicine wheel that the mountain lioness marked off with these big quartz crystals that my firekeeper brought over from a friend who lived down by the lake, just into the west, going into the west from up here on the mountain. And I got the image of that mountain lioness just prancing through those 4 big chunks of quartz crystals, like she was so happy with that long tail all curled up. And actually, while she was there, she brought me a song for the element of air, and we danced that one a couple weeks ago, and we're working on more songs for the elements to bring them into people's experience and help them deepen their understanding of working in these ways and actually experiencing verb-based culture in these ways that come from our medicine ways and our crystals and the memories that they share and our mother's tears, healing all the pain that we've all suffered in some ways, and accepting that the suffering is to help us discover our gifts and share them in community in these ways and help heal the damage that we've done to Mother Earth. So I will stop there and open for questions or sharing your own experiences of these things we speak of, or anything you want to share. Just open your mic and speak.
Well, I would like you to elaborate a little bit on the black and white crystal. I remember you telling me of that ceremony, and the minute you started talking about it, I realized that that's a ceremony that I feel I need to hold. I'm fixing to go into a period of healing here come equinox. So, and I remember it was jet. So is it just the crystal quartz and jet? Is that what it is? Tell us of that ceremony, because yes,
Yeah.
the left being the past and so forth.
Yeah, thank you, Shonda. I'm so happy to hear you're going to step into that work. It's beautiful work, and it's so much more kind than doing it with the mind. And it doesn't re-traumatize, it breaks down gently, and it works through the dream world and the ancestors too. And I want to give credit to the Cherokee man who tracked it, as we say. He brought these teachings back and tracked them for us, and he teaches them. His name is One White Horse Standing, and he got that name when he went to a workshop that he was holding, and 3 people in the workshop that he had never met had dreamed the night before that his name was One White Horse Standing. And so we take those names when they come to us in these magical ways, and we change our names, when our life changes. So I'm anxious to see what comes of your work. What it is very simple, but it takes 4 people. Starts with the premise that we can only heal in the present. So we have one person stand in front of us and hold our eyes straight ahead. And if we look to the left, we're going into a memory. We're looking into the past, and our eyes will do this without our awareness. But the person who's holding our gaze will say, come back to the present. And your gaze has to come back straight ahead to meet their gaze and remain present throughout this process. It's not really a ceremony, it's a healing process. And then afterwards, you'll have the ceremony to confirm, maybe a naming ceremony or so maybe a sweat lodge ceremony to deepen the purification. Whatever ceremony comes, and feels right will be the celebration afterwards. But then, if you look to the right, then you're looking for solutions. You're stepping into ego mind, the little ego mind that wants to squirm and find a solution in the future and doesn't have the ability to stay in the present. So the most critical part is to find someone that you can stand face to face in the present, and they will hold your gaze, hold your eyes straight ahead so that you can stay present. And then 2 people will have the selenite crystal and the jet touching each other. They will hold it together. I always keep mine here, but I can't reach it from here. But it's just a simple selenite wand, and jet is one of the oldest natural gemstones. So it's easy to find in the form of necklaces from the 20s. If you can go to an antique jewelry store and you see this beautiful black carved shiny stone, and you tap it on your teeth to know that it's stone and it's not some present day who knows what kind of material, but you'll feel it. You'll feel the stone, and when you tap it on your teeth, it's kind of like bone to bone. And so a person on either side holds the selenite and the jet together, and they simply move it around your body, your physical body. And if they don't have to do anything but just move it and kind of stay out of the way. If they are intuitive types, they will often perceive the places where they need to stop and hold the crystal in one place so that it can break down the crystallized memories. That will often be the organs. The kidneys will hold the fear, the wounding can be in the guts, can be in the heart, can be in one of the chakras. Attachments from the dark realm around the earth can be stuck in the chakras, and the cords can come from the chakras that need to be cut. If you have an obsidian blade, you can add that, but that's afterwards. But you may also feel a memory come up while those crystals are moving around each side of your body. And you can just gently say, stop, hold that one on the right, or person's name, hold that, stay there. And you can feel how long you need that crystal and jet to stay there by that place in your body so that it can break down those crystallized memories and allow that healing to come into the body. It will restore and break down what has done the damage. And you do this just as long as until you feel complete, or you feel sometimes, you'll get a little intense feeling and you want to stop. It depends on how much work you do and how you're used to identifying those feelings and open to intuitive feelings. And sometimes you need to allow a little bit of time for those memories to come, if they're ancestral, through the dream time and go back through the ancestral lineage to heal. They can be big. They can be really big. But that's the advantage we have, and why we need to work with the ancestors. We have that advantage of the physical body and the crystallized memories that come from the ancestral patterns. And this is a good way to start healing, the genocide patterns on this continent and wherever they're occurring. And you can do it, and so you'll give some time to the work in the dream world so it becomes conscious and available if you want to, or you can just let the crystals do all the work. They will take care of it, and they will break down tumors and organ blockages and some very, very life-changing physical things that change the outer life. I've seen this happen with a lot of people who've come through our lodge community here, and their life changes. We would sometimes we do this before our sweat lodge, and sometimes we do it after by the fire. But it's always sweet to do it by the fire, and I would really recommend as we gather our fire keepers and we go into these fire ceremonies that we bring in some of these practices to add to our choices for development and for healing. Does that give you a good start, Shonda? And of course,
Yeah,
I'm
that and
available if
yeah,
anybody wants me.
that's an amazing idea too, Gal. But yeah, I did have one thing. My altar is quite enormous of things that have been gifted to me through the years. But I have jet, but I'm not sure. I thought you were talking about just plain quartz. What are you saying? What is the white crystal? What are you calling it?
Selenite. It's a form of quartz. It's
Is that the white one?
it's this one right here. Yeah.
Okay. That's
See,
kind of what I was. Yeah,
it's
that's
not as hard as the quartz. It's kind of it will break. Like I've dropped these and they've broken into two pieces. And then I had exactly what I needed, to go out by the fire. Sometimes they're carved and sometimes they're natural like this. Sometimes it's just a wand. But
and
the
is that a
jet,
jet bracelet on there?
it is, yeah, and that's a good way to do it because you just wrap a finger around it and move it, just move it around the body. And I actually will sleep with these close to me when I'm working on something and they'll tie into the dream world and the work that I'm doing.
So you're saying
Hanging.
the stones are to be touching on both sides? I was thinking that one side would be the jet and the other side would be the selenite.
However, you can hold them together just so they're touching each other and they're making contact and they're working together, just like we're working together with the three other people that are helping us. And then we shift out and we help the other people and we each get the healing. Again, there's no hierarchy. There's just we're all in this together. We're all helping each other and the stones are helping us. And
Yeah, because my mental picture was wrong. I thought you were saying because you've got the two healers, one on each side of you. Then you've got the gaze fixer in front. So you're saying that both crystals are in the hands of both people on both sides, not
yeah,
the jet in one and yeah. So oh, I see. Yeah, no, I had that completely. I had the picture backwards there. I thought you put the jet on like the right side and then the other on the left side. And so, okay, so they're both crystals.
yeah,
Have
that's
you
good to
got any
clarify.
kind of have you got a YouTube on that or anything that you've done? Okay.
No, I don't. But I think if you Google One White Horse Standing, you can see his workshops, and he will come and actually clear the land and set up medicine wheels and work with people and teach these ways. And I will too, if someone, and also if you're doing this and you need me to come in and help you on Zoom, I can do it that way as long as you have your three people there who are present. I can help you understand and ask questions and go through the process a few times until you get really familiar with it too.
So you said One White Horse Standing?
Yeah,
Okay, that's business management consultant in Ohio.
he does that too. Yeah.
Oh, so that is him. I was fixing to say, nah, this can't be him. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Found him.
Good, good. Yeah, I'd love to see you journal your experience of this and share it when you step into it.
Oh, there's that white wolf again. Yeah, he's got the white wolf on his page.
Mhm, mhm.
Yep. White wolf was he was the elder that led me through that vision quest.
Beautiful.
Every time I see a white wolf, it's something connected. So that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've got that bookmarked. So
Great.
anybody have any other questions for Gail for this session? We've got about 10 minutes.
Grandmother, I'm down here repotting some transplants while I listen to you, and I just
Mm.
want to thank you for this. It's like you switch the sensibilities and switch our perceptions, and with such great understanding that it's a better world because you're here. Just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kay. I'm here because you brought me here.
Oh, I
Yeah.
will second that, sister.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you both.
Thank you, Kay.
Gail, I was wondering what specific frequencies in relation to any sound therapy and crystal therapy that match up um, with the chakras. Is there teachings on that bridge between sound and matter, frequency and
There is a lot of information on that. I am not a detailed type person, but I can tell you what I experience. I have a gong, a big Buddhist style gong out in the yard, and I will lay people on a wool blanket on the ground in front of that gong, and I will actually do a sound healing with a dissonance and a resonance. So with the gong, I get the resonance, and then I have this little bamboo chime that brings in the dissonance, and they balance again, dark and light. We always create balance when we work to heal. And so I will lay the person down on the ground and go between the gong. And I also have these stones that I've found in the spring, in the stream that's here on the mountain. And my ancestral people would bring offerings to the spring. So I found all kinds of things. And when you click these two rocks together, they make a very different sound. They sound more like metal than stone. It's a beautiful sound. I've tried to share it in fire gatherings before, and I don't know if my sound could come across, but I'm going to keep trying because it's such an amazing original, like you feel it in your bones. And I'll click these sounds, and then the person will generally go out, they'll just go into a delta state, and then I'll let them just lie there with the ground and keep the sounds very low. And then I'll do the chakra balance healing, where you can actually do on yourself as well. You want to take the root chakra and the crown chakra, and you just want to use your palms and feel those energies. And you want to move them kind of like a wave, kind of move those energies until you feel them equally in the first chakra and the seventh chakra, and then move right on up, to the third eye and the second chakra. And then you come right on up to the solar plexus and the throat, and then take it all to the heart. So I'll balance people's chakras after I do the sound healing. And if they go back out into that delta state, I'll just do more sound healing. And, I've tried these things, these whistles. Gosh, I don't know where that thing is, or I'd blow it for you, but I've tried those things that actually do measure the hertz, and I've tried to figure out how to get my music into different hertz, but I haven't gotten anywhere with that. Don't know how to do that. And I blow that whistle, and the dog pays attention, but I don't really feel anything like I feel when I'm working with the sound healing. So I don't know about the gadget stuff, that's made by humans, but I do know the sound and the ground and the chakra balance that we can do either for ourselves or for each other can really go a long way. So thank you for that question.
I have a sister who's with the crystal singing bowls, and
Yeah.
And so with our the understanding of the frequency and sound healing and stuff like that, which is finally coming into the consciousness of a greater understanding uh, in the world, and people coming to know how relation, because everything is frequency, everything moves at a certain way, everything in your body, each cell vibrates at different frequencies and stuff. So even in the medical field, as far as targeting certain cancers to to shatter the stagnation of the cell using frequency. And so this is I'm very happy to see this kind of knowledge that comes out from that. But the the,
I agree, Michael. It's
the
returning us
voice,
to the
yeah,
original instructions
the
of our
voice of the
ancestors.
grandfathers. You said the grandfather rock is come to lay foundation, but even still for everything else to sit upon. But even as Mother Earth, um, grandfather will melt at the beck and call of Mother Earth to rebalance the weight of life in place. So, and all of that has to do with the frequency that comes that is spoken by Mother Earth to you say, okay, it's time to move. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much for sharing that, Gail. Nice to
Mhm.
see you, Kate. How you doing? Love you. It's nice to see you come in.
You know, Gail, you talked about that gong. The if I remember correctly, the gongs are tuned to 639 hertz, which is one of the sacred frequencies. And also are the what like Michael was talking about the Buddhist bowls. Those are all
Mhm.
tuned. Each one of them's tuned to a sacred frequency. And that
Mhm.
639, if I remember right, that's connecting in relationships
Okay, well, I
is what
just happen
that
to have a
frequency.
gong hanging right here. I can give us just a few minutes of the gong sound and tuning
Yeah.
if you want. We'll close out with
That's
that.
interesting you brought that up, Shonda, is because that the Tibetan bowls, the element of the metal, and also the singing bowls like the crystals. So if you ever have a chance to be in a place where you can someone is bringing forth those two elements, um, it is very powerful, and they both speak to each other. The element of rock and metal. Yeah,
Go
thanks
ahead,
for
Gail,
bringing.
go ahead. Yeah, Michael. Oh, I think you need your original sound on, Gail.
Original sound. Here we go again.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
original sound. Thank you, Shonda. Let's see if
yeah.
it's gonna hang on with.
We see it moving, that's about it. Yeah. And that's one of the higher frequencies there. I didn't know you
you
had
see
that. That
them
is so cool.
hanging from crystal chandelier, but it does hold the energy, and it amplifies it.
Yeah. That's one of the higher ones. That sounds like the 417. I used to, my ears used to be fine tuned to the sacred frequencies. And that was that came out of the Georgian chants, the old Buddhist chants, all the sacred frequencies, and then the what ended up happening, the system, they moved everything from the sacred frequencies, and and now everything is disruptive to the natural flow of the heart and all the chakras. All the modern music today, that's why most musicians that know this, they tune down, they go a half step down, they tune down and go flat to be within the frequencies. And so that's something that we used to go through as well. We would
Yeah,
always tune down.
I'd love to hear you say more about that. I've been trying to figure out how to
That's
get back.
one of the things that's been coming back to me to start doing on Monday under the art beacon
Yes.
is start studying the can't remember exactly what they were called. Suit Keith, do you remember Sudafedji? I can't remember. Sudafedji frequencies, I think is the name of them.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
the word you're talking about.
The
Solfeggio
the-
frequencies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and their
yeah.
Gregorian chants. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And I used to know all the healing resonances. 285 was 285 is actual physical body repair that will repair. And that gong, I think that sounded like 417. And they're all tuned, they're all tuned down through you. Anyone that's well, I don't know how to put that. I think it's something spiritual, but most musicians with a tuned ear that study them, they can recognize them in the future. It's just like I could just belt out a C or an E because I know it, right? So it gets
Yeah.
That
that
was
way.
that was a very powerful one that you did there, Gail. I almost went back to the womb. That was really weird.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if that was 417, that's the change frequency.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, which would
That
be
was
really
it
cool.
was a bit uncomfortable as well. It was a very strange feeling.
Can be, yeah, but I'd love for us to get together and learn together and do some experiential hands-on with these things.
Yeah, I think maybe go back to get your sound back. You still got original sound on. At least it does it has cleared up. Yeah, it's cleared up really good. Okay, well, it's top of the hour, and we're going to bring in Miss Becky Big Canoe. So let's go ahead and timestamp these recordings. And as tradition in the gathering, when we stop a recording, we said thank you to the energy in the room. And I think today it's just um, healing frequency is what, and of course, Grandmother Gal. Much love, sister. Thank you.